Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing, guys? It's Monday, and today is a new day, a new week, that we are going to discuss our power of our plate. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing fine. Well, for the last couple of weeks, I've been dealing with with my voice has been going in and out, the allergy season, that kind of thing. So it may cut out a little bit sometimes as I'm talking to you today, but it doesn't matter. I feel fine, and we're going to go ahead and plow right through this. So hello, my beautiful ladies out there that are listening. If no one told you today that you are beautiful, let me be the first one to tell you. You are listening to the Estrogen Chronicles, Her Plate and Her Power. I am your host, functional nutritionist Gail Thorpe. So I want you to grab your pen and your paper and your tea and some coffee, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. So today we're going to talk about menorrhagia, which is heavy periods. Now, I know that a lot of us have dealt with that before. I know for sure me. Oh my goodness, it's been rough. It's been rough. And that can often happen and interfere with you on a monthly basis. It interferes with you physically, emotionally, and also socially. It definitely affects your quality of life, right? And we all know this to be true. One moment, ladies. Okay. We all know this to be true, and I'm back. I just had to take a little water, just a little water. So what causes it? What causes that heavy bleeding? So we have talked in previous weeks about some of the things that can cause it. We know that hormonal imbalances, so if you have estrogen dominance or low progesterone, that can cause it. Uterine fibroids or polyps can cause it, or if you have endometriosis, or if you have adenomyosis, which is just almost like the same thing. And then going through perimenopause, right? Fibroid disorders. You may have bleeding disorders as well. Sometimes also too certain medications. So any type of anticoagulants, hormonal IUDs, those type of things. If you are deficient in nutrients like iron, vitamin K, or B6, and then chronic inflammation, like if you have any type of also liver congestion, which can affect your estrogen metabolism. So we know that there are several different things that can actually cause heavy bleeding. We don't want to have no parts of it, right? So guys, bear with me. My throat goes out. I'll just take some more water. Some of the symptoms that we have when we're dealing with this is when we soak through one or more pads or tampons every hour for several hours, right? Isn't that so annoying to do that? But it's, I love to bring these things to your attention, ladies, because I want you to know you are not by yourself. We all have experienced this. And then constantly feeling that we need double the protection. I know a lot of times I would have to have a tampon and a pad. Is anyone else going to attest to that out there? I'm just being honest with you. And then waking up at night to change your protection. You better not sleep through the whole night because you're going to be waking up to a lot of stuff, right? So you have to wake up and make sure and change that. Like you can't sleep through the whole time. And then bleeding for longer than 7 days. Your period normally lasts at least 7 days, but sometimes when you're experiencing heavy periods, you're going to bleed longer than 7 days. And then you're going to be passing large blood clots. Oh my God, it's so uncomfortable to do that as well. And then you're going to have fatigue, and sometimes you might even experience shortness of breath. You may have anemia. Okay? And the biggest thing is it definitely can cause a disruption to your daily life. That's a lot. That is a lot. And sometimes I know that when we go to the doctors about this, not everyone is sympathetic to us because they'll say, oh, you just have your period. What's wrong with you? Why do you make it out to be a big deal? They may not understand. This is beyond a period, right? This is heavy, heavy bleeding and it's literally affecting your lifestyle. So it's not just a regular period. And unless you deal with this type of situation, you have no idea what it's like for us ladies who have dealt with this. Okay? So when do we need to see a doctor? I always like to make sure and let you know when it's time to see a doctor, when it's something that may be beyond what you can do at home. So when you start to bleed heavily for more than 7 days, you want to take a look at contacting your doctor. If you're experiencing things, if you become anemic, right? If you have symptoms of dizziness or fatigue, or you become very pale because you're losing so much blood. And if you're passing clots, right? That's pretty big clots that you're passing. Like if you had a 50 cent, like a coin, pretty big coin. If it's the size of that, then that's pretty large. And if you're changing your pad or tampon more than every 1 to 2 hours, and if you're bleeding between your periods or after you're having intimacies, and then if you have a sudden change in your normal pattern, those are the times that you definitely want to take a look at seeing your doctor, because there could be, like I always mention, something else that could be going on. Okay? Okay. Now we're going to go back and, excuse me, just give me just one moment, guys, because I'm going to need to do I need to take a little swag of water? Okay. Maybe I can get through this. These allergies, guys, bear with me. Okay. So some of the things that if you go to see your doctor, because I like to always let you know what the doctor may do. He may give you some iron supplements, and that's especially for those who are experiencing anemia or maybe on a borderline where they have low iron. So it's when you feel that you have, or when you have your heavy periods, you always want to make sure and get your iron checked because most likely you may have low iron. Okay? So he may suggest to you to receive iron treatments like supplements. Okay? Right? So that's an important thing because we don't want to be too low in our iron. The other thing he may suggest is that taking things like ibuprofen, which helps to reduce a lot of times the menstrual flow by up to 25 to 35%. It also helps to relieve cramping. Okay, so any of the NSAIDs that you will see on your pills that you can get in a store, or he may give you something a little bit stronger, can actually help you in relieving the cramping, and it may actually reduce some of the menstrual flow by up to 25 to 35%. Okay, he may also aim for hormonal treatments to help to regulate or even suppress ovulation, to help to stabilize your endometrial lining. So some of the things that can help with that is oral contraceptives, okay, the pill, which helps to actually lighten your bleeding and regulates your cycle. Okay. There may be injections that he may give you. Like, for instance, an example would be Depo-Provera. Okay, he may give you a hormonal IUD. That can actually be highly effective. It can actually reduce your bleeding by up to 90% in 6 months. And then there's also the GnRH agonist treatment, which can actually, is a pill normally. It can actually put you in a temporary menopause state to help to reduce the bleeding. And a lot of times this is used too before you have surgery. So let's say if you are to have surgery like a myomectomy, that's one of the things that they would do. Okay. They may also do a non-hormonal prescription medication that helps to reduce the bleeding by helping the blood clot more effectively. But this is only taken during menstruation. Okay. All right. Or there's some other things that you can do too, or he will do. He's gonna, give you a thyroid treatment possibly. If the thyroid is an issue, is maybe the root cause of your bleeding, okay, because it's off, they're gonna want to treat that condition to help resolve the bleeding. So there are some things that they do. Every case is different, of course, but there are things that they can do to help and resolve the bleeding. Some of the surgeries or procedural treatments that can be done as well to help. You have the endometrial ablation. What this does actually is destroy the lining of the uterus to reduce or stop bleeding. Now, this is suitable for women who do not want to have future pregnancies. It's actually minimum invasive and is often done as a day surgery. You may have a D&C. That is a scraping of the uterine lining to remove tissues or polyps. It's actually considered like a temporary fix, but sometimes it's done to diagnose actually or manage acute bleeding. I just talked a few seconds ago about a myomectomy. Now that's a surgical removal of fibroids while preserving the uterus. And this is definitely appropriate for women wishing to maintain fertility. And this is a big one that they do a lot of times, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because sometimes, when you have, let's say, heavy bleeding and you may develop fibroids, doctors tend to always recommend a hysterectomy, which is a complete removal of your uterus. Now, keep in mind, this is a permanent solution for severe or unresponsive menorrhagia, which is heavy bleeding. Okay. Now, this is considered only when all other options fail, or there could be a possibility of a cancer risk. Okay. But I definitely say that you want to make sure that you know your options. I always say that when it comes down, especially if you're diagnosed with fibroids and you still want to have children, sometimes doctors will recommend hysterectomy so quickly because there are some things that we know about fibroids. There are definitely lifestyle changes when it comes down to eating, stress, things of that nature, some hereditary too. But it is something that has a gray area, which basically means that the verdict is not completely out yet on why they come. And sometimes why they all of a sudden disappear. So with that being said, there are definitely some indicators though, but it has not been fully discovered on what all of the reasons for women to get fibroids. So when that happens, you could be still, in childbearing age and you still want to have a child, but unfortunately the doctors say immediately, well, you have heavy bleeding, let's go ahead and get a hysterectomy. So just want to be careful of that. Okay? Want to be careful of that. Now, once you go see the doctor, of course, they're going to make sure and do a pelvic ultrasound. They're going to do blood tests. Like I mentioned, you're going to have your iron tested, your thyroid, the clotting factors, and your hormones. You're going to get a pap smear. And if they have to do an endometrial biopsy, and this is especially for women over 35 who may be at risk for possible cancer, they may do that as well. Okay? So those are some of the things that happens when we go to the doctor. some of the things that we want to look out for. I always like to give you what to look for if you have to see the doctor, so this way that you will be prepared and that you will not be sitting here saying, I have no idea what he's talking about. Or she, right? Because it can be a woman as well. But like I said, just know your options. Make sure that you read the information, what's best for you, because at the end of the day, only you know what is best for you. Okay? Now, let's take back our plate. So some supportive foods that help with heavy bleeding, which is we want to focus again on anti-inflammatories. And we want to also focus in on hormone balancing. We want to go into iron-rich and liver supportive foods. Definitely our kale and spinach, which is high in iron and vitamin K. We want to definitely look at beets, which supports our liver and our blood. Pumpkin seeds and sesame seeds, which is a great source of zinc and iron. And then we want to have liver or grass-fed red meat because it provides the heme iron that we need, especially if you're anemic. But you won't know that until you get tested. Lentils and beans. Now that is actually a plant-based iron, which is great. And avocados, which is healthy fats for hormone balance. And like we talked about before, we talked about the broccoli and the cabbage, okay, which helps to detox estrogen. Because sometimes if we have too much of that going on, it causes an imbalance, right? So the cruciferous vegetables, is we want to take a look at that. Turmeric and ginger, which is anti-inflammatory. And then the flax seeds, which is a gentle phytoestrogen, and it also provides fiber. Okay, guys. Now, again, we talked about foods that we need to avoid. Sugar, once again, is top on the list. So sugar and refined carbs, that actually worsens our insulin and our estrogen imbalances. Okay, so we want to be careful about that. Dairy, which is especially if you have estrogen sensitivity, stay away from that. We talked before about alcohol, same thing. The alcohol actually burns your liver and increases estrogen, right? Caffeine, this can actually increase your bleeding in some cases, not everybody, but in some cases. And then ultra-processed foods and additives. So processed foods, as we know, is not good for us no matter how we slice it. And then some of the additives, like for instance, the red dye and things of that nature, like in candies or in fruits, we want to kind of be careful of that. We want to make sure we are reading our labels. And I'm just going to put you on a brief second hold there because I just want to take a little swag of water. One moment, guys. Okay, guys, I am back. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so now, what are some of the healthful supplements that we can take can help us with this? So we want to definitely take magnesium, which helps to calm the uterus. It also helps to regulate estrogen. Vitamin B6, that supports our progesterone production. Vitamin K2, which is essential for clotting. Remember that. And I talked about this once before, but DIM, D-I-M, or calcium D-glucarate, that actually helps the liver to clear excess estrogen, okay? And you can get DIM through someone like myself. I do carry what you consider practitioner-grade supplements that is not available in the stores, that has a quality that you need to really work for you, okay? So that's something you want to take a look at as well. Then we talked about Vitex, which is chasteberry. That helps to balance our hormones, especially when we are low in progesterone, okay? And then the omega-3s, the EPA, the DHA, which are anti-inflammatory, okay? And then we want to also look at, our iron. So iron bisglycinate, which is gentle on the stomach, and it helps to restore lost iron. But again, if you're taking medications, as you know what I always tell you every week, even with these supplements, you want to make sure that you can take it, because sometimes medication can not, or maybe not work so well with a supplement. It may help to either decrease the effectiveness of your medication, or it could increase. Okay, so you want to make sure that you can, first of all, take the supplement, and then if you can, then you want to take a look at the ones that I just mentioned to you. Okay, a lot of great information, right? Alrighty, guys. So a good aromatherapy, because I want to give you some tips on aromatherapy, because I love aromatherapy. We talked about that a few episodes ago. And because I'm also not just your functional nutritionist, but I'm also a aromatherapist, I know that these essential oils work. They actually really do. Okay. And you can also make sure to know that you can either diffuse them or you can massage them, especially massaging in your abdomen, your stomach. So if you were to take 3 drops of clary sage, which is balancing and calming, and then 2 drops of geranium, which helps to actually support your hormone and mood, and 2 drops of my favorite, which is lavender, which is anti-inflammatory. It's also very calming. And then 1 drop of cypress, which helps with circulatory and is also an astringent. And 1 tablespoon of carrier oil. So it could be almond oil if you like. There's different ones out there. And what you want to do is you want to gently massage onto your lower abdomen. And you want to do this at least 1 to 2 times daily during your period. Or you can diffuse this during your PMS and your menstruation. And we talked about, for instance, our PMS, right? So we know that our symptoms start 2 weeks before the onset of our period. That's when we always know when we're going to have our period, because we can normally tell. It can sometimes, for some people, start with feeling very tired, having fatigue. Then it could be headaches. Your stomach feels kind of nauseous. These are some of the things that you start to feel right before your onset of your period, right? But they're the strongest during that time. So this is when you want to take a look at being proactive and using this particular blend, because this will help with heavy periods. And it also helps to calm down your stomach. It helps with the cramping. So it's good information, right? Okay. I know you love all that good stuff. I try to provide as much of that I can. Because we want to keep in mind that a normal period, whether you use tampon or pads, you can normally change every 4 to 6 hours. Now, if you're soaking through a pad or a tampon in less than 2 hours, that is considered heavy bleeding, and it may be time now to consult your doctor. Okay? Now, when we're going through our periods, and especially someone who has heavy periods, because that's what we're talking about today, some of the exercises that you want to do, you want it to be gentle, okay? Basically, circulating and boosting and stress-reducing exercises to help us during that time. So yoga, we're going to take a look at that. Do a little walking, which helps to boost the blood flow, and it helps to reduce your cramping. And you know what's good too? Tai Chi. That's like a kind of Kung Fu. You can normally take a Tai Chi class if you know where your Kung Fu is in your neighborhood. That helps to give you the balance, your energy balance in your body. It helps to balance your body. So this way you won't have too much of an imbalance, which it also again causes imbalances of your hormones. If you were to do strength training, which can help to actually build lean muscle. It improves hormone sensitivity, but you want to do it in moderation, right? Because again, when you are experiencing a heavy period, no one wants to go out and do any kind of big training. No way. I know I don't, because I deal with that myself at times. So you want to just stay home. But the thing is, if you do nothing, sometimes it can cause it to be worse, especially a cramping, because the cramping and the heavy flow goes together. So just doing very light, gentle type of exercise helps. You want to definitely avoid high intensity workouts, especially during your heavy days, as that actually will worsen your fatigue and your cramps, right? So you don't want it to be too intensified, but if you do it just moderately and gentle, it can actually help. Okay? So keep that in mind. All right, so now we're going to get to our point of a great smoothie to help us with our heavy bleeding. This smoothie is going to be very helpful because it's going to be iron rich and it helps to balance your hormones. It helps to support your blood and inflammation as well. So it supports blood, hormones, inflammation. Boom. That is what we need. So we're going to take 1 cup of spinach or kale. Again, that's iron plus vitamin K. A half beetroot, which helps to liver support. 1 frozen banana for potassium. A half cup of berries, remember our antioxidants. And 1 tablespoon of ground flax seeds, which helps to give us a better hormone balance. 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seeds, which helps with our iron plus our zinc. And 1 cup of unsweetened almond or goat milk. A half teaspoon of cinnamon, which helps with the blood sugar balance. And again, this is optional. You can put in 1 scoop of collagen or a clean protein powder. You want to blend until it's smooth, and you want to enjoy this smoothie during the days or leading up to the days of your cycle. Okay. All right. So that sounds delicious. And we're helping with a few things there. So you want to go ahead and try that smoothie. That should definitely do the trick for you. Now, for those of us who have been officially diagnosed with anemia, okay, we are going to need something that's going to help us to, or rather boost our iron, okay? So this is what we're going to call our anemia iron building juice. So you want to take 1 small beetroot, it could be raw or steam, which is rich in iron, folate, and nitric oxide. You want to take 1 large carrot, and that helps with vitamin A, and it's an iron synergist. 1 apple for natural sweetness and for vitamin C. And you want to do a half lemon juiced with vitamin C, which helps with boosting your iron absorption. And then 1 handful of spinach or kale. Remember, that gives us the non-hemi iron plus chlorophyll. And a half-inch ginger, which improves your circulation and your digestion. And if you like, you can also put 1 tablespoon of blackstrap molasses, which is high in iron and minerals. But that's optional, guys. Optional. So you want to make sure that you want to try to get mostly, of course, I always say you want to go organic, right? Because that has less pesticides. So you want to make sure, get organic, wash all of your ingredients thoroughly. You want to go ahead and juice the beetroot, the carrot, the apple, the spinach, and the ginger. You want to go ahead and squeeze in the fresh lemon juice. And if you're going to use the molasses, you're going to stir in the molasses. Okay? You want to stir that in, or take it on a side in warm water if you like. And remember, you want to drink this immediately to preserve the nutrients. Always drink these things immediately because that's better for you. And you want to get all those nutrients that's so needed. Okay? Now, the best time to drink this particular juice is mid-morning or on an empty stomach for better iron absorption. Okay? You want to make sure you avoid consuming any kind of dairy or tea, as this inhibits your iron uptake. Okay? So there are ways to help to, as I always say, take back your plate, to help to calm symptoms that you may have. And sometimes it can completely eradicate the symptoms, right? So that's what I'm here for, to tell you these things, to help you to understand. You can take back your plate, which is basically saying you're taking back your health. Now, just give me 1 second, guys. I just want to take a little sip of the water, and I'll be right back. Okay, thank you guys for giving me that moment to drink a little sip of water. It helps. So, we have covered a lot of information today when it comes down to having heavy periods, which in the medical term is menorrhagia. And it is something that is a true thing. It really happens. And it's not fun, as we all know. Okay? We talked about what to look for when you have it. What are some of the symptoms? We talked about when you need to go to see a doctor. We talked about what the doctor may cover as far as what some of the things that he may use to help with the problem that you're having. And we talked about some of the procedural methods that you can do, whether it be a myomectomy or, whatever he suggests, or a hormonal IUD. So we talked about options because I want you to be equipped. I want you to be equipped to know what is best for you. I want you to be equipped. I want you to be able to be well informed. And you can always say, I'm informed because she told me the right thing, because I listened to that podcast. But I want to make sure, guys, that is so important, because these are sometimes topics that we don't even talk about, right? And so people always wonder, what can I do? There's always something that you can do. So that is something I want to also say to you in what I do as a functional nutritionist. I work with women who have these type of issues, right? Because what I have found is that doctors sometimes are not, when it comes down to women's health, especially when it comes down to things like our menstruation, they tend to, not have the best thought pattern there for us, because a lot of times if they're a man, they don't even experience half the things anyway. And they kind of brush it off too. It's just bad. You'll be okay. That's normal. So, and forget about the nutritional part. They don't talk about some of the nutritional or natural things that can help you with this problem, right? So that's where I come in at. So if you were to see someone like myself, I can test you to see where your hormones are. I can test you to see if you are deficient in any type of nutrients, and we can work from there, right? And then I can derive a awesome custom program for you. Custom program for you, for your eating, for your supplementation, the whole gamut, to help you with this journey. Okay? So just know there is hope out there. That's what I do, to get to the bottom line of your situation and then to help you to eradicate it. Okay? So definitely go to my website at www.nutritionudesign.com. You want to book a session with me? It's actually free for a discovery session, and we can talk about it. And from there, you can make a decision if you want to move forward. But I can guarantee you'll be happy if you did, because I'm someone that understands what women go through. Because why? I'm a woman myself, and I'm being honest. I've gone through a lot of these things myself, right? And I always like to say at the end of every session is, wellness is not just a journey, it is a lifestyle, because it really is, guys. It's a lifestyle, right? You don't want to take it that, okay, I can just try for now to do right by myself. You want to create a lifestyle around this so that you can have a lifestyle of health, great health. And I want you to share this podcast. Don't hide all this great information for just you. You want to share with your other friends and your family, okay? That also helps me. So if you share and make sure you like, so this way when a new episode comes out, you always will be informed. All right, guys. I'm so happy once again that you spent your time with me. And if there's anything that you didn't get, make sure you can always play it back, have your pen and paper, and write down the things that we discussed. And if you have any further questions, you can always contact me because I am here for you. For that being said, I hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.